Hello everyone, Mike Mixon from Keyboardamerica.com here in Lewis Beach, Delaware. Welcome to the Genos A to Z video. Learn what all your buttons are. This is a great video if you own one. It's also a great video if you're thinking about getting one. And you will learn a lot about every button on here, A to Z. I do have individual videos on our video lessons page, our Genos Tyros video lesson room. If there's any kind of video that you want to dig into deeper, they're on our website. And you can also join us for our Song of the Week and Buttons class if you want to purchase book bundles. And the book bundle comes with my setup USB so that your Genos is set up just like mine here is at the store. So let's get going. Genos A to Z. Okay, so before I start from left to right and go over, an important thing is this memory button right here. And this is the memory button that you can save your favorite sounds and songs into, and you can save your own one-touch settings. But when you push that, you're going to see, we'll get a big zoom in right here, that I have them all checked off. And this is kind of a good way to do it. That way, whatever you save, saves properly. So all those should be on first. Now, next to that is the direct access button, which is also going to be very important in this video. So now we'll take a look at the Genos A to Z and zoom back out here. Now, right next to your power, master volume, and microphone volume, you've got vocal harmony. Now, if we hit our direct access and vocal harmony, the right page comes up for doing all my adjustments in vocal harmony in case I'm singing. Now, keep in mind, because the box is checked off here in memory, that I can save different vocal harmonies for each song that I do. So you can store many different ones in here. If you touch the standard harmony there, here comes your vocal harmony page up to choose what kind of vocal harmony you have or that you want. So that's pretty awesome, and there's multiple pages of that in here. Now, once you edit one of these and customize it for yourself, and there's going to be another video on that, obviously, you will actually edit it and you will save it. And it will save under your user. You can see that I have Alpine Girls that I've edited. You can see Barry White in there. He's in there right now. Duet harmony, easy harmony, and standard duet. So once I customize them the way I like them, they get saved, and that's where they are under user. Now, once I exit out, I get back to this page again, and you can see where you can adjust everything. The type of effect you want, you can see the effect is off. So everything is editable here. Your reverb, how much harmony you want, how high you want your lead voice to do. There's a lot of things in there, and we're going to cover that in another video because this is an A to Z video. So we're going to exit back out and go out to the main screen now. And the same thing is going to happen on the talk button here. So if you hit direct access and talk, you can see and go in there and make all kinds of adjustments there for what you want to do as well. Next up is your upper octave. Now this is an octave shift, and I put on a saxophone here, and if I hit plus, it actually gives me an extra octave, and you can see that that's going down in sound. Now that's a pretty nice feature. I don't use it too often, but whenever I want a real sexy saxophone, I drop that octave shift down there, and that way I can play my saxophone where I normally play it in this area and have a really great sound there. Now, as I'm showing you this, keep in mind I can program it in one of my registration memories so that that sexy sax is there for a particular song. That's the beauty of checking off all these boxes in the memory button. So that's going to become pretty handy. Okay, so next is the recorder. Now this is a big deal for a lot of you out there, and this is going to really explain the recorder. A lot of you don't understand song A, song B, what it means, and I'm going to simply show you that. Song A is an audio recorder. Song B is a MIDI recorder. So now I'm going to explain to you the difference in those two recorders and what they are, and at the same time I'm going to hit my song button up here, and you see my screen changes, and when you're playing a song it wants to know whether it's an audio file or a MIDI file. And I am going to explain to you the difference in those two files. So here we go. I'm going to push the record button here, and you can see it's asking me, do I want to do a MIDI file or an audio file? Multi-track record. There's a lot of things in here. Now, the difference between a MIDI file and an audio file. This is really important. But it is kind of simple if you think about it, okay? A MIDI file is just what it says. It's a file. Song A is an audio file. Now, an audio file is a CD. In other words, when you put your CD in your car to play it, that's an audio file on the CD, which means you can't manipulate it, you can't change it. Once you burn the CD, it's finished. You can't do anything with it. The MIDI file, you could actually get into all the tracks and edit and change notes and do all kinds of things in there. And I usually use my Assignable A, which we'll get to later. You can see these are all the tracks in the MIDI file. So I could literally take instruments off, put them on, change instruments, do whatever I want. Now, once I record a song as a MIDI file, I can then record it as an audio file, which means I can burn my own CD real quick. But the other thing you can do in the audio file is sing. So in your Genos, you're going to be able to record your own CD with you singing and using the vocal harmony and all that cool stuff to create an audio file that you can take to your computer, stick it in, and burn the CD immediately without converting it from a MIDI file to an audio file. Now, another thing the MIDI file does, which is really awesome, is I'm going to hit record and do a quick recording on MIDI here, and I'm just going to play. Boom, there you go, a real quick recording, but guess what? That is now going to be in the score. That's the music I just played, and now you've just played a song that you made up, and you can print that sheet music for your song if you get a program like Cakewalk or something like that for your computer. But that's what a MIDI file is. It's a file of the whole song. Okay, now back over here on the left, you see rotary SP /assignable. So I've got a video on the organs in the Genos, and you're going to want to watch that video for a full explanation of what the rotary is, because this is an A to Z and I don't want to get into that now, and I've made a video on that. But it also says assignable. So if I hit direct access and go over to assignable, I have literally used that. If I'm not playing an organ sound where I want that rotary on there, I've got it changed to my fade in and out. So you can, that's another assignable button besides the other 6 that we're going to get to in a little bit. So you can make that do what you want to do. And you can see that direct access button is a really important button, and we're going to continue to discuss that as this video goes along. Of course, your accompaniment button, that's self-explanatory. That gives you your keyboard split where you're playing chords with one hand with the styles and notes with the right hand there as well. Right next to that is the OTS link. Now this is a very, very important button, and it's really awesome. So let me show you what that does. Okay, so we're going to get over to this side eventually, but we're going to do it right now. So with my accompaniment on, if I go into my styles and choose any style, we'll just choose this R&B. We'll choose Motor City here. Okay, for every style, Yamaha puts in 4 great right-hand sounds to match each style, so that when you're playing, you don't have to go in and program. You can use your own sounds as well, but 4 great right-hand sounds for Motor City. So when you put your link on, it marries your 4 variations. Variation A, notice it's on 1 touch setting 1. Variation B on 2. Variation C, it goes to 3. So while you're playing, you only have to hit 1 button on there. So it marries these to the 1 touch setting so that the sound in your right hand changes automatically. That's what a link does. So just to be clear, if I go to Lovely Shuffle, there's going to be 4 new great sounds to go with that Lovely Shuffle there. And if they're married to your variations, they change automatically. Next is the auto fill-in button, and you see this flashing. So this is going to be an important one to show you now as well. Okay, so the auto fill-in, when you go from variation to A to B to C to D, and I'll put that same style on for a second. If this auto fill-in is off, it's just going to go from A to B, simple as that. The auto fill-in is on, it's going to give you what a professional drummer would do as they change from the beginning of the song, the bridge, the chorus, and the end. So with that auto fill-in on, when you change, so you saw that flashing, and that means it's doing the auto fill-in that a drummer would do. And they're all different on all 4, which also makes the Genos a special machine. Tap tempo I don't really use, but I guess if you're used to doing it, I've got that Motor City up. If I wanted to do it faster, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you hear it clicking. You hear the drum. So just like a drummer would do on stage, that's the tempo you're going to get. I find it much easier just to use my tempo up and down, which are the next 2 buttons on there, and no explanation needed for that. Transpose, the next two buttons that are on there. This is one of the greatest features. Boy, I'll tell you what, I wish that was available when I was learning how to play growing up. Basically what happens is you can play in one key, like an easy key, and if you can't sing it in that key, you can just keep hitting your transpose button. And I'm going to zoom in on the screen and I'll be pushing this button for you. You can transpose any key you want to go to. So that makes it really nice. And when it's on 0, you can push them both at the same time. It'll always take you back to 0. But that makes it you be able to play the song and have it come out in a key that matches your voice or anybody else that's singing. So that's a great feature on there. Now, over here you have Art 1, 2, and 3. These are articulations. So for instance, if you were playing, a saxophone on there, and when you put a sax on, let's go back to voice here and put a sax on. I'll use one of mine, breathy tenor. Now you can, if you do this, it gives you an automatic pitch bend up or a crescendo. You can actually do that by pushing the button. I don't use the buttons much because I've learned how to attack the key to get the super articulation there. And by the way, while we're on it, we used to have to get the pitch bend from this lever right here, which is your modulation level. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes as well. Okay, the break button, simple. Just like it's giving you autofill in, where it's doing what a drummer would do in between throughout the song. The rhythm break button will give you the same thing if you want to stay on that same variation. So that kind of gives you the same thing the autofill gives you, but for a song that you're going to stay on the same variation, but you want the rhythm break in there anyway. So that's there. Of course, you got the 3 intros and the 3 endings. The big difference in these is intro 1 is normally, just an interesting count in. Got to have sync start on. So that's a real short intro. Intro 2 is going to be completely different. Intro 3, totally different. Intro 2 is going to be shorter than intro 3, but it makes it great on the styles. I don't use sync stop. That means it'll stop when you take your key off the chord. Sync start I use all the time because that just starts the style when I press a chord. That's the purpose of that on there. Start, stop, no explanation necessary. All right, direct access. Very, very important button. When you want to get to a quick setting or a change, direct access is incredible. You've seen me use it so far. And to give you an idea, I'm going to zoom in on the screen real quick. I'm going to hit direct access, and I'm going to touch my small pedal that I have on the floor. Direct access, touch the pedal. That takes me to the page that I can adjust what I want that second pedal to do. So it's a real quick, it is what it says. It gives you direct access to settings for the features and buttons that you want to use on your Genos. And of course Tyros has that on there too, which is a very, very good button. So back over here to our little toggle here. Okay, I can hit direct access and hit my toggle, and you can see it brings up another page. That's my Great Direct Access button. And you know, you can do a lot of stuff with the joystick there. I basically use it for my organ and my Leslie speaker. And once again, watch my organ video, Genos organs, and you'll get a real idea. The way they just put it on there, but in the old days, that's the only way you can get your pitch bend, which you're already getting in your articulation, and you're already getting the pitch bend the way you attack the keys. So it's rare that most people would use this other than a professional who's using a Hammond B3 with a Leslie or something like that. Okay, next is the slider assign. Now, that's for your window up here. Right now, I can use my sliders to adjust volumes on my right 1, right 2, right 3, my left, the volume of the style that's playing behind me, my mic volume. I can just use these sliders to do that. When I touch the slider assign again, it goes down to 1, and now I can adjust the style itself. If I wanted more drums or less drums, a louder bass player in that style, all that stuff is right there for you. And there's also one more in there that allows you to adjust channel volumes if you're multi-track recording and things like that. But you're normally just going to use that on what it's on, which is B, to adjust that. Same thing here with your knob assign. You can get into there and do different things for all kinds of things that you can do there. I don't use that hardly at all, that knob assign. So it's fine with me never to touch it. And but if you're doing multi-track recording and using the incredible recording studio that's in the Genos, believe me, you pros out there will really enjoy the access you have to these MIDI files that you are creating. Okay, so I've zoomed in now so you can see this from what I just explained. This is slider assign. You can see it says style multipad, right 1, right 2. Hit the slider assign again. There's your style that's playing, that you can make your volume adjustments there. Hit it one more time, you're out to the channels where you can adjust channel volumes, and back again to the top. And of course, here's the knob assign up there, which you can do reverb and things like that there on the instruments, and all the gates and things like that that a recording studio would use in there. Okay, jumping back out. Your registration bank up and down button. This you're going to use when you're doing your registration banks, and I have plenty of videos on these registration banks that you can see on my Genos Tyros video lesson room. But that simply makes you go from one bank to the next. Right now I am on Song Bank 7 here up top, and if I move this, and right here, this is going to be part of this class, so I'm glad I did that. Registration bank. I changed the registration bank this morning for my new song, My Funny Valentine, in Bank 7. So I went to change banks and it said, hey, do you want to save that before you move on? Yes, I do. I'm going to save it in my Song Bank 7. And Song Bank 7, overwrite, yes, and that's saved. But now you can see I can go to any bank that I want. So if I'm on Bank 4 and I push the first one here, all I have to do is Dream, and Affair to Remember, so on and so forth, Pink Panther. And if I go to the next bank, Bank 5, the first one is going to be What's New, Sherry, string of pearls. So you see how that works, but it's an easy access to do it. And it's great. The Genos is great because it won't let you get off that bank if you save something new in there without you saving it. So that's kind of a nice feature. So while we're here, of course, these are your 10 registration memories, which basically are called presets. The old days we called them presets. And once again, because of what I showed you with that memory button, you can save things many different ways. I just leave them all checked on. That way it saves all my settings for each song in there. You can also just save your favorite sounds in here, which is really nice. Now the freeze button next to it, this is a big deal too. So this is important. A lot of you don't understand what that is there. Let's just say I go to a style, and of course these are my user styles. I'm going to go to a preset. I'll go to jazz, and let's do big band count there, okay? So if I've got my favorite sounds programmed in here, I've also got my favorite songs programmed in here. So I can't change from my favorite sounds, use all my favorite sounds without it changing the style too. So once I put that freeze button on, now I can. So I can use my favorite sounds, even though I have styles programmed in here. It freezes it onto this big band count. So I have the freeze on in my big band count. I can use my favorite sound. So there you go. You can use your favorite sounds and just stay on that style that you wanted to stay on. So that's what that freeze button does on there for you. Okay, next up is the dial. And of course the dial does a lot of different things. Right now you can just scroll through all the styles that are in here, or your sounds, whatever. You can do it one at a time by using the increment buttons underneath there, and of course the exit button, self-explanatory. We're going to go over to this section now, and we're just going to spend a few seconds on this because this is also pretty self-explanatory. Anytime you're on multiple pages or you've opened up multiple pages, instead of hitting the exit button until you exit all the way out to the home page, you can just hit the home page and it'll take you right to the home page screen there. Same thing here with your styles. Here's all your styles right there. And you can see that these are the presets, and all my user styles for my Song of the Week and Buttons class are there. Plus, I have all the Tyros 5 styles in my Genos too. So I got 2 keyboards in one there. And that's great to have too. Very interesting having both keyboards in one there. So as I go through my pages here, you can see all the songs that I've done on there. Same thing with the voice here, so you hit your voice button. Now if you have your voice open, that's what you're going to see there. So as you go from sound to sound to sound, you're going to hear, you're going to see these all change to whatever sound you have in there. But once again, that's self-explanatory. Song, we went over a little bit earlier. Song gives you everything you need to have in your audio recorder and your MIDI recorder for playing them. So that's simple for that. If you're using a MIDI file, of course, I have a video on that too, so we don't have to spend time on that at all. Playlist is a playlist of your favorite songs that you can store in a playlist. Now, I store them here in my registration memories, And at some point I'm probably going to move them over to my playlist. But your song, playlist, voice, style, home, menu, right there. Keep in mind there's a menu 2 page there as well. Always look at your screen to see what's happening there. Okay, next are the assignable buttons. Now, just like we assigned a fade in and out over here, you can assign these buttons with whatever you want them to do. Now, I have the assignable buttons video on my page, on my video lessons page, so that's a good one to watch. I'm not going to get deep into this right now, but what I did is I put my 16 tracks on for my MIDI files in one. On B, I put the score up for the music. C, I have the words of the song that'll come up, the lyrics. D, I have my vocal harmony so that I don't have to go up and push it over here, which is a little far away. On E, I have my mic setting, and on F, I have my single finger chord in the right hand there. So it's just a real quick access, and you see I have to keep hitting exit to get out to the main screen unless you just hit home. Okay, one touch setting. We covered that a little bit, but I'll tell you what this does that's pretty nice. When you put a style on, let's say you don't have your accompaniment on and you don't have your sync start, besides having 4 great right hand sounds for each style, when you hit it, it turns everything on that you need to have on to play, the accompaniment, the sync start, everything but the intro, because it doesn't know which intro you want. But that is a great feature right there. Right next to it is multi-pads. Now, behind on each style, it's going to give you different multi-pads. What's a multi-pad? Well, while you're playing, you can throw in extra sounds. Now, if you hit your select button, there's pages of multi-pads in there. You can get all kinds of things in here. DJ fade, EDM drums. Let's go to company men. Now there's a lot of great ones in here, so I've used them in my videos quite often. Go into the arranger, here's an arpeggiator 8-beat. Now these will go along at the same tempo that your style is, so they will sound good and match the style that you're playing. Every once in a while you have to go up and hit stop. Now if you do program a whole song like I do in my registration memories, you can save the right multipads for that song too. Everything saves right in here, as you've seen in many of my videos. Okay, up here's my thumb drive port right there. Now there's a lot of stuff on the back of the Genos, so that's there as well. Right here is your harmony arpeggio button. And this thing does a lot of things, but basically most people use it to get a single finger chord in the right hand. So if we hit our direct access and our harmony arpeggiator button, right now it's on standard duet. And once that is on, when you're literally playing, let's see what I got going on here. Alright, so if I play a chord in my left hand, you hear that's a duet. There's 2 things playing, a trio. Full chord. So that's doing that, just playing with 1 finger, making you sound professional. And it takes the notes from your left hand. Now there's other things in there too, echo and all that, and tremolo, and there's another video that I have on harmony arpeggio on the website, so we can get into that a little bit deeper. Sustain off and on don't use it because I use my sustain pedal that I've got with my Genos, and that's why I give the bundle that I do away, so you have everything I have and you don't need anything there to do that. And the last thing now on the right hand side is going to be the part select and voice select on here. And this is going to be a lot of fun, and we're nearing the end of the video for the dashboard here, but I saved one of the best for last. Okay, so your part select buttons, it says right 1, right 2, right 3, left, left hold, and there's black buttons above it. So when you layer sounds in your right hand, this is where you do it. So if you want 2 sounds on, you can just push both on at the same time, and the black button tells you which instrument is in right 1, which instrument is in right 2, and so on and so forth. Now the left button will put a sound behind your style if you're using an accompaniment. Like you could put a piano down there, or an organ once in a while, or a string in the left hand that's right underneath of your style. So that's what the part select buttons do, and that's what all those buttons do. We'll zoom back out here. So on my right 1, I'm going to choose a concert grand there. On right 2, I'm going to put it on strings, and I'll put Keynote strings warm, and now I can just go up to my volume levels here, right 1 and right 2, and adjust how much so you can see very quickly done there. You can store it in your one-touch setting, or you can store it right here in your registration banks. Now for a quick demo, I put the left on here, and I'm using a style, and you'll hear the piano, which wouldn't be there if that was off. Put it back on, go to organ, so whatever you want to put behind that style, you can do that with your left button. If you have your hold on, it'll hold the notes instead of not playing the notes when you take your fingers off. I like it when it's not on hold. That way I can bring the organ in or the piano whenever I want to. Alright, and the very last thing is the screen. And this is really, really nice. I'm going to put it back on piano here for a second. And in fact, what I'll do is show you that when I edit a sound, it goes into my user. So I've edited these sounds here. And for instance, I like a little reverb on my piano. So I can just go to Menu, Voice Edit. There you go. Voice Edit is there. Effect. And Reverb Depth. I can change that to anything I want. And once I get it where I like it, I just hit save up at the top of the screen. So all the buttons, I just tried to exit and it said, hey, the voice has been changed. You want to save? No, don't save because I already have some in there. And of course, you've also got the favorites here, which you can put in your favorite sounds right there. Although my user is my favorite sounds. So it's kind of a duplicate of what it is. And the demo up here lets you hear what the sound should sound like. So if you're searching, okay, so if you're searching for a sound and you want a specific guitar sound, you can just hit demo and start touching all your guitars or your pianos or whatever sound that you want. File here, That's pretty easy. You can rename the sax that you edited to sexy sax or whatever you want to do. You can delete, you can save, lots of stuff you can do up here that I've got in plenty of videos. But really, it's really a fantastic touchscreen. When you're out at the main screen, you see there's a shortcut for song B there. There's a shortcut for song A, which is your audio file. These are your registration banks that are in there. Of course, I changed my banks right here, and you can see them changed at the top there. And vocal harmonies up top as well. There is one thing that you might see on my Genos at home that would be different, is you can actually move these icons from the bottom and put on there what you want. So for instance, I don't need vocal harmony here because I've got it right here. So you can actually change these to something that you don't use as often, but things you want to get to quickly. And you just hold it down, and that will take you wherever you want to go, and you can go in there and change and edit those down at the bottom there. Okay, so we're going to hit our menu button, and we're going to go into Assignable here, and right at the top it says Home Shortcuts, and this is where you change things on the bottom of that screen. So I certainly, there's some things on here I don't need. Vocal harmony would be one of them, but I would take my channel off and on. I don't need that right there, and I would change that to whatever I wanted to change it to. So a lot of time, you know what happens is you start playing your Genos and time just goes by. So I'm going to put the time there, hit close, and now when I exit out all the way to my home page, you can see the time is there. So you can do anything you want to adjust these, because keep in mind you're going to have assignables here, and you do have the other assignable over on the left side here that I usually use for fade in and out. But you can just adjust these for what you want. Tempo looks good. Live control, I do use my mixer quite often, but I have my vocal harmony here, so I would change that to something else too. Okay, so this was a long video, but there's a lot on the Genos, and of course everything's more in depth on our Genos Tyros video lesson room. All of my YouTube videos are available to anyone. And of course, we keep pumping them out every week and do our Song of the Week and Buttons class and just have a lot of fun here. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was educational for you and you really enjoy your Genos. Mike Mixon, Keyboard America here in Lewis Beach, Delaware, saying keep playing, have a great day, and see you soon.